Ladies and gentlemen, I've always told you guys on this particular platform that politics is a very interesting game. At the same time, politics is a very dangerous game. Saitabao Kanchori, who was Raila Odinga's chief agent during the 2022 general election, yesterday released that much anticipated book. As we speak in the country, that book is selling like hotcake. In fact, I think it's the best-selling book in the country today. In case you are out of the Republic and you need a copy of the book, you can easily access it via the link which I'm going to share in the pinned comment and in the description section of this particular video from Amazon. Kenyans have reacted differently to that book, especially about the timing, the objective. I've read a bit of the book and I've followed reviews of that particular book. I agree with Kanchori on some of the issues he's raising, especially why Raila Odinga failed to become the fifth. That is going to be the basis of this analysis. But before we get there, allow me to be a critic of the book, just like others. Before I do that, let me take you to Wafula Buke. What Wafula Buke is saying, that number one, the expose was well timed. That's how bogus politics works. At our hour of need, a chief agent sells out. Backstab pays well. And is asking at his number 5, who is Kanchori? What does he believe in? What has he done to qualify for that holy assignment? He is as known as most nominee to high offices in Bunge and county parliaments. So Buke is also questioning Kanchori. But for me, I'll go to the book straight and look at chapter 1 of the book, because Kanchori is opening this book by exposing who he is. Unknown to many Kenyans, Kanchori was actually close associate of William Ruto, which means for me, Raila Odinga's campaign was actually compromised, was infiltrated up to the level of chief agent. And you expect Raila Odinga to become the president of the Republic of Kenya. It can't work. The other thing which I'm gathering is that Kanchori was actually Raila Odinga's lawyer at some point. And because of that, that's how he was able. That's how Kanchori was actually able to get into the highest apex of the campaign without handling any political activity. He had never. Let me take you to chapter 1 of this book, because after this, I want us to look at the 9 points, which I agree with him fully. He's saying, just pay very close attention to chapter 1. A little known fact is I worked with William Ruto long before meeting Raila Odinga. It was sometimes in early 2010 when the debate on the then proposed new constitution was raging. So he had worked with Ruto before knowing Raila Odinga. One fine morning, my kinsman and fellow lawyer Martin Ole Kamwaro, clearly impressed by my strong and highly structured sentiments against the then draft Constitution 2010, took me to William Ruto's office at Jogo House, Nairobi. You see, Martin Kamwaro, just pay very close attention, he's continuing. The country's 5th president was then the beleaguered Minister for Higher Education, and I was a young, passionate, and some say eloquent lawyer with a strong head and even stronger views. He's proceeding, and this is going to shock you. He's proceeding. Let me just go to this part direct. He's proceeding that between 2010 and 2012, my relationship with William Ruto was so close that the likes of Farouk Kibet, Nixon Korir, Lands and Planning Principal Secretary, and others often came to me when they needed something from Ruto. So are you getting? This guy was so close to Ruto to an extent that Faruk Kibet, who was by 2013, was always William Ruto's blue-eyed guy. Kanchori was closer to Ruto than Faruk Kibet. You see how Raila Odinga was sold out? And is continuing that few people in the political circles were closer to Ruto at the time. One of them was Honorable Charles Keter, who would later serve as Energy Minister, because he was closer to Ruto 2010, 2012. These guys became president in 2013. Keter was one of the closest allies of Ruto. He became Minister for Energy. So the question is, where was Kanchori all this time? Why was he not appointed? Now, the interesting part which is telling us here is that Kipchumba Murkomen, now Cabinet Secretary, was not part of William Ruto's inner circle. Frankly, the latter did not have a flattering opinion of the former, though in fairness, this had nothing to do with Murkomen's capacity and abilities, but rather he was then too independent-minded for Ruto's liking. So basically saying that Ruto did not like Murkomen because Murkomen was independent-minded by that time. Murkomen became the senator in 2013. Very powerful. I hope you are adding these things. So, if this guy was so close to Ruto by that time, how did he manage to penetrate Raila Odinga's camp up to the level he was then appointed as chief agent? Raila Odinga's campaign was compromised. But I agree with Kanchori on the 8 issues which is talking about why Raila Odinga or why Baba is not the 5th. I want us to look at those 8 issues. Before we do that, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. And allow me to take this opportunity to thank Jude for the coffee which you sent me. I received it. Thank you so much. And you can also do the same using the numbers you are seeing on your screen, because it goes a long way in supporting this channel. Now, let us go straight to the 9 issues why Raila Odinga is not the 5th, which the gentleman is actually raising. On those issues, personally, if you ask me, I agree with him completely. Most of these issues, these 8 issues or 8 reasons, have been compiled by most of the media houses. So I'm just going to expound on them. So give me a few more minutes, please. And if you've watched this video up to this stage, please know that I really value. Maybe you can let me know by saying present in the comment. Now, the first reason why Raila Odinga failed, according to Kanchori, is that the first reason why Raila Odinga failed, according to Kanchori, is that he ran a disorganized campaign. Those who followed this channel, I always told you how Raila Odinga's campaign was disorganized. You can't dispute that. Raila Odinga's campaign was highly disorganized, no structures. There were several campaigns. Everybody was receiving orders from everywhere. I'm told Raila Odinga had almost 10 secretariats. All these secretariats just working, without any clear structure. Everybody working, Someone was telling me something which shocked me, that at some point, this country, people negotiate. At some point, when Wafula Chebukati went to use residence to be bribed, and Raila dismissed, then Ruto reached out to him and gave him some bribe. When these team people now realized that what had happened, they tried to reach out to Wafula Chebukati again. So someone will come from this secretariat meeting Wafula Chebukati, negotiating on the same thing. Another person from this side negotiating for the same thing. Another person negotiating for the same thing. There's one key individual around Raila Odinga who is ever busy in meetings. He's in each and every committee, busy doing nothing. I just don't want to mention his name. But next time, if you challenge me, I'll mention the name. He's busy. Every committee is there, doing nothing. Busy. we have taken care of that. Oh, that has been taken care of. Well, they are doing nothing. I agree with Kanchori up to that point, that Raila Odinga's campaign was disorganized. And like William Ruto's campaign was so organized that they had structures from the national level to the ground. If William Ruto wanted to communicate with me here, he would just need to know where I am. His structures will work. For Raila Odinga, that was not the case. It was going to be dismantled somewhere. That I agree. He's also saying, number two, the second reason why he failed, Raila did not pay attention to details. Of course, on this, I also agree. Things were very clear that Wafula Chebukati was actually working for William Ruto. Some of these things came out in the public. For example, when the issue of Form 34A, Book 1 and Book 2 arose in the country, what did they do? Someone needed to pay very close attention to ask questions. What was the objective of this Book 2? If the printer was told to print only Book 1, who covered for the cost of that Book 2? And of course, if it was by mistake that Book 2 also arrived, how were they going to handle it? They were just told by Wafula Chebukati in a meeting, okay, this is what we're going to do. You guys have raised your issues, because actually Azimio raised issues about that book, why they believe that that book was going to be used to rig. So Wafula Chebukati tells them, okay, this book came, it was printed by mistake. What we are going to do, as we send Form 34A book 1, we'll also send this one, but this other one will not be open. Hey, fools. This other one will not be open. And they believed. That Book 34A, Book 1, was used. Book 2 was also used. Book 2 is what was used to rig. So that you have results from this region, this particular polling station, because you only need 200 votes there. You change using from this other form. You relay. It's an authentic document. You can't convince Supreme Court judges that's not authentic document. There were also the issues when the only man I know who was working so hard for Raila Odinga to be declared president, the former DCI director, George Kinoti, he told them, there are guys who have been sneaked into this country, and these guys are doing this. Azimio never paid attention to that serious issue. Was just swept. Oh, so this company has been contracted by IBC, doing what with election material? That is now when you even decide and mtu anaenda anafanya nini? Because election is a matter of life and death. And they're also saying, Kanchori is saying, that Azimio had shambolic and deeply compromised command center. I agree 100%. The Azimio command center was shambolic. Kanchori is explaining in his book that at Bomas, at no point did William Ruto win, was ahead of Raila Odinga. Because they were at Bomas. The results were being relayed there. At no point. Then something happened. Then Ruto started overtaking Raila. At what point? What happened? The command center was compromised. So Kanchori is laying the blame on this gentleman, but personally I know he was also compromised as a chief agent. That one you can't argue with. That command center did zero work. They could not even secure a single Form 34A, just to prove that indeed we are saying in this particular polling station, the results which you are displaying there is not what our agents have. Simple thing. Because you only needed a few. So that if these guys used Form 34A of Book 2, then you demand for the opening of that ballot box. Then you confirm if that Form 34A Book 2 is intact or someone plucked it. Fake. It's also saying at number 4 that naming of a partial cabinet that did not give assurance to Uhuru's pampered princess they will have a place in new government. This one, I took my whole time and did a proper analysis. How they moved to a point where they 4 cabinet ministers was a wrong move. Raila Odinga appointed Joho, Minister for Lands. He appointed Oparanya, Minister for Finance. He appointed Peter Munya, the Minister for Agriculture. Who else? There were 4 people. So the other people who are in the deep state were asking themselves, where am I? You know, I don't understand what stopped Raila Odinga just from naming Matiang'i as the Minister for Interior. So that we are going to go into this election with Matiang'i knowing so well that his place is secure. People like Karanja Kibicho then realized that they don't have a space. And that's how they lost interest. And that was the opportunity and the window which William Ruto used now to penetrate the deep state. You can't argue with that. That's a fact. Because even me personally, I saw it. He's also talking of false belief in deep state. The deep state in this country is overrated. That's a fact. I don't know whether we can proceed with that, but Ruto was controlling that deep state. And he's also saying that Uhuru controlled shadow state and not deep state, which was in the hands of Ruto. If you read that page, chapter 1, which I was trying to explain to you guys, there is something which is saying about, Uhuru, when he introduced Uhuru to Ruto. That when I introduced Uhuru, when I asked Ruto to work with Uhuru, Ruto told him that Uhuru is not a man who makes his own decision. So probably he's trying to justify here that personally what happened was the fact that he knew that Uhuru was not in charge of the deep state, that deep state was in the hand of others. So Ruto simply went and dealt directly with those others. And I agree. You know, Ruto worked with Moi. Moi was the president of the Republic of Kenya for 24 good years. During that period, Moi ensured that the Kalenjins were deeply entrenched in our security system. The Kalenjins were sympathetic to Ruto. Those who were in government. So they were feeding Ruto everything. Apart from that, Ruto worked with Raila. So he knew Raila Odinga's weakness. He worked with Kibaki. He knew how Kibaki made Uhuru the president. He worked with Uhuru. You know, when Uhuru rigged Raila out. So he understood all this. And lastly, he's saying that Raila was inept in playing the religious card. On this, as much as you want to blame Raila Odinga, I think William Ruto simply bought the church, something which Raila Odinga could not. You know, like the other day, yesterday, I think, I was asking whether Ruto will succeed in brainwashing the Muslim community the way he did to the Christians. And people like Muslims are not like Christians. But let us wait and see. And he's also saying, lastly, that Raila took long to embrace issues affecting Kenyans. I agree. There are people around Raila Odinga who are constant figures in Raila Odinga. For example, I'm asking myself, why is Adam Olo and Zaid Abubakar still the one facilitating and giving talks in today's Raila Odinga's baraza? Why? Kwani hakuna watu wengine wapya? There are new people. But why is he preferring to work with these people? Those are the questions. On that, I agree with him fully, because the issues which were important in 92 are completely different from the issues which were important in 2007. They were totally different from the issues which were significant or important in 2022. Completely. Probably that time even social media was not there. Right now, it's a main thing. Probably by that time, there were no Fuliza. Fuliza became an issue. Probably that time it was about removing Moi from power. Probably that was not the issue. Probably during those times it was issues of ideals in politics. Currently, that doesn't matter. How much do you have? I don't know what you think. That's my take. Please, thank you guys. And I really appreciate your time. If you watch this video up to this particular time, let me know where you are watching it from if you reached this particular time. Thank you, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.